Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I have Nevada, my mortgage broker, here with me today. And you guys have been asking in YouTube comments and other videos about servicing, banks, lending. So we're going to unpack some questions here together. And we're going to start off with a big hitter, which is the interest rate cuts.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've had 3 rate reductions so far this year. Obviously, that in and of itself means borrowing capacity is a little bit higher across the board. There is some ways to optimize that with people that have existing debts though. Not everyone knows this, but when there is interest rate reductions, most lenders will pass on the rate reduction itself, but not all lenders will automatically reduce the minimum repayments.
Which could be weekly, fortnightly, or monthly for most people.
Correct. And if it's just the one mortgage, that difference with one rate reduction may not be that significant. But if you're talking 3 rate reductions across multiple property portfolios, that repayment difference can actually add up to be quite a bit. So if you're leaving the repayments as they were, you're paying a little bit extra. So you're paying the loan off faster, which depending on your circumstances may or may not be the right thing to do. But if your preference is to reduce those payments or prioritize payments elsewhere, improve your cash flow, whatever that is, it may be worthwhile checking if that's the case, or working with your mortgage broker, reaching out to us to actually get those repayment reductions implemented as well.
Yeah. And as a buyer's agent and a property investor myself, a lot of my loans, I'm a chartered accountant, buyer's agent, and property investor. Those are kind of my 3 hats that I'm wearing. I typically want to personally do interest-only loans. And so the good thing about that is that when the rate reduction comes through, my interest-only loans would be monthly repayments and they'll drop relative to the interest rate. But there's a lot of people out there, especially mums and dads, who are on principal and interest loans with their own home with, 800 grand of debt, 500 grand of debt, $1 million worth of debt. And it's not necessarily, they're going to pass on the interest rate cut, but they're not necessarily going to pass on that drop in repayment.
Yeah, and that, cash flow difference might be the priority or the objective. It might allow you to pay off, the non-deductible debt faster.
Yes.
Save for another purpose. So,
or just liquidity. Like I'm a big fan of liquidity. And that's something we can talk about next. So with offset accounts and interest rates, are you typically seeing that you have to pay a little bit more of a percentage point to get the offset account? And what kind of rates are we seeing in this market if I'm a standard investor investing with the big banks, and then I'm an investor that's pushing the limit, looking to go for another 800K purchase, but I'm going to those second and third tier lenders?
Yeah. So an offset facility often has a package or a fee or some kind of a cost.
Wealth package,
associated with it. Depending on your loan size or portfolio size, often it's cost effective to include that package. Yeah, you might pay annual fee of $400, but you might get a slight rate reduction across the portfolio, which can be, in some instances, thousands of dollars. So depending on the bank, depending on the amount of lending that someone has, it can often be the case that the offset's included and it's cheaper.
Yes.
In some instances, there's a cost to having an offset. Obviously, there's benefits with an offset as well. In some instances, it's the benefit may not be, tax deductible, could be convenience or that sort of thing. But it's all case by case in that instance. But depending on your portfolio size and all that sort of thing, sometimes it especially with the major big 4 banks, it pays to actually have the packages because it works out cheaper.
Yeah. And there's actually a review that's happening over the next 12 months around some of the banks not applying those offset accounts. So make sure you're checking your statements that the account is actually linked to the account, and that the offset, say you've got $50,000 in offset, that your interest repayments are being reduced on those daily calculations. So that's just something to be wary of. But in most circumstances, your offset accounts will be set up correctly. I'm actually going through a refinance process with Nevada and the team at Cube Home Loans right now. So I can speak as a personal client to them that it's been so smooth giving them the documentation, going through, loading up documents. Even the email communication is nice and neat. And I think it's really important with these interest rate cuts we've seen with the RBA and potentially more to come this year, that you are on top of your loans, because that's how you build a property portfolio. It's with the broker. I'll be honest with you, mate, I couldn't do it without you guys. Like, yes, I have to have the serviceability and the income and the vision for the portfolio and buy the right assets, but without the funds, you can't do anything.
Yeah, and what I always say, particularly for property investors, it's a living, breathing strategy. Like, it doesn't start and stop with each transaction. I always encourage people, if we've chatted 6 months ago and there's been some changes or there's been some changes in your circumstance, just book another call. We can run through and let you know how that impacts things. Run through what are the property values, what's the income now, how do the rate changes impact things, and then often a combination of a few little tweaks here and there can be the difference between another acquisition being on the cards or not.
Yeah, and family planning is a big one. I've chatted to a lot of clients and potential clients over the last few months. You know, if you've got a second baby coming up, but you're still both working full time and you guys are good stewards of your money, you've got good savings, you've got good track record and history, and you're confident that you're going to have a return to work, then working with your broker, my broker, whichever broker you decide to work with, it's important to sit down with them and say, hey, we are going to potentially have another child or our first child in the near future, but we do want to get this asset locked in and buy our next investment. And then we can come back to you in 2 years once we're back to full-time work and things have settled. And that's part of that planning and that fluid process.
The short-term potential changes you might have. I always like to chat to people about their big picture financial goals as well. And sometimes when I'm chatting to some 20-year-old who's buying their first house and I ask them, are you interested in growing a big property portfolio over time? They're a bit uncomfortable giving me their own, which is often they're interested in that.
Yeah.
That's important for us to understand as well, because that can legitimately change our recommendation. If that's on the cards and that's, even if it's a few years down the track, that can legitimately change what options and what products we put people in today and set them up to have the best chances of being able to do that in the future.
Yeah.
An example of that would be a first home buyer. If their plan is, in a few years' time, I'll make this one a rental and buy another one, then an offset facility is probably pretty important in that case.
Strategic planning for that long-term vision.
Maximize the tax deductibility when that debt does become tax deductible.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden that's an important variable, which is changing our recommendation today for a plan that, might be 4 or 5 years down the line. And one of the very cool things about our job is that we often, I've had plenty of examples where I've helped someone buy their first house and I'm helping them buy property number 3 or 4, which is really cool. Really cool to be
They're starting to build that nest egg, that asset base is compounding, and you guys are building that relationship over a long period of time.
That's right.
And that's what's happened with Nevada and I. Like when we started, my personal property portfolio was around that $5 to $6 million mark, and now sitting around $9.5 or $10 million if you're looking at sales agents appraisals, or probably $9 million if you're looking at automated bank valuations. But the cool thing is that we've been able to grow the property portfolio strategically, and that does mean working with different banks and different interest rates. So myself personally, I was okay with taking, a 7 or 7.2% interest rate for a window of time. Because when we sit down and have a discussion, I'm saying to Nevada, look, I want to use a second or third tier lender because I'm going to buy deals that are good quality, that are, as a buyer's agent and a personal investor, I'm confident in the trajectory of these deals and the upside. Then I have a chat with him and say, I know it's going to be more documents and more paperwork for you, but it's that long-term vision of if we could refinance these after 12 to 24 months to a 6% interest rate, which is exactly what's happening right now, and I can access some of the equity that's maybe come from the market or a bit of value add in these deals, then my personal plan is using these funds to do 3 builds. And so the guys at Cube and Nevada have helped work with me to get the funds together for these bigger projects. So I'm doing essentially minor property developments. But as a mum and dad investor, you don't have to go into minor developments. It could just be building, a lot of people get stuck at property number 1. And if you can get to properties number 2 and 3, that gives you a $2 to $3 million asset base, which you can imagine if that goes up 10%, you're making $300,000 of equity, or you could sell down some of those assets and then buy the dream family home. So it's about working with the broker through those seasons.
Yeah, and there's certain levers we have access to determine.
It's one of my favorite words, mate.
What
pull the lever.
Yeah, that's it. What options are available, and a big one of those is the lenders themselves. We have somewhere between 60 and 100 lenders available to us. Some of them, are good for very obscure purposes. You might use them, very rarely. But one of the interesting things at the moment is the tier 1 lenders and tier 2 lenders, what we'd call a tier 2 lender. The differences in rate are really nominal at the moment. Your tier 3 lenders are still that fair bit higher.
That 1% or 2% higher.
Yeah. Whereas your tier 2 might, in some instances, be like 0.2, 0.3 higher and still offer a significantly higher borrowing capacity.
Better packages,
And everyone's circumstances is different. Like not everyone has a straightforward payslip income. Some people are self-employed. Some people receive large portions of non-taxable income. So these are all variables that we look at to, optimize and maximize to meet someone's objectives, whether that be buy another investment property, upgrade the family home. In this case, it's usually buy another investment property is usually the goal at the moment, to be honest.
And I think the important thing is that you can't fabricate money with a broker out of thin air. You do have to be working a solid income. You've got to have some history. You've got to have some savings or some equity to access. So you do need the foundations. But then from there, you can work strategically with that broker to build a plan for the next purchase and then purchases after that. So if you do want to have a chat with these guys, where do they go and what does the process look like to work with a more sophisticated broker?
Yeah, so you can find us on cubeloans.com.au or we have a link on Luke's Purpose Property website as well. The process always starts with us with a conversation, whether that be in person, phone call, Zoom, whatever's easier for people. But that's where the process always starts. We always want to work out, one, where people are at, what's their current financial circumstance, and then what's their objective. And then we can outline what the options are today, or if it's a not now, it's never a no. It's if it's a not now, it's not possible at the moment. We can outline what the steps are, what the goalposts are to be able to do, meet that objective.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about working with Nevada and the guys at Cube is the honesty. I've worked with brokers in the past who said, yeah, we can. They offer the world. They think they can do everything for you, but then when you give them the docs and they actually look it over, the goalposts can change. The good thing about Nevada and the guys at Cube is the honesty. They'll tell you where you're at and where you need to be. If you need to earn a bit more income or you need to save a bit harder to get to the hurdle that you're looking to achieve. So that not now mentality, I think, is really important for a lot of people, because if you get dropped by a broker or a bank through that process, it can be quite disheartening. Mm-hmm. That almost happened in this house we're sitting in right now. This was our third property, was working with a broker who was reputable, apparently. I wouldn't recommend that broker from back then, and that was 5 years ago. We got halfway through a contract period and they said, no, we can't help you anymore. There wasn't a backup option, a worse interest rate. It was, it's all too hard. You're too difficult. And that can happen when you become an investor who buys 1, 2, 3 properties plus. So the great thing about Nevada and these guys, and again, I'm speaking from personal experience, is that they are going to look at a tailored approach and they will give you that honest feedback about how to improve your financial situation to get the most out of where you're at.
Yeah, and if we're saying there's not an option available, on our end, we've left no stone unturned. We've looked at every potential variable. We've looked at credit cards, any debts, any kind of other repayments. If we refinance the rest of the portfolio, change the repayment structure, what options does that open? With the obscure lenders we have, what options do they open?
There's an option here. It's an 8% interest rate. I don't know if you can offer that as a product, but whether someone should then take it is up to them. So you just got to be wary of that lending.
It's not our job to make decisions for our clients. And a lot of the time I feel that brokers get too invested in the decision making for their process and they're applying their own financial philosophy.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Which may or may not be appropriate or matching the clients. It's our job to provide, give people educated options. Not options where they sting them with a fee they weren't aware of.
Shark lenders at 15%.
And if it is an option that's a bit more pricey, like let them know the considerations, the
establishment
the downsides,
fees,
all of the fees outlined, and then they can make an educated decision whether they want to proceed with that or not. The reality is, there's property developers who use extremely high interest rate, short-term lending, and they're sophisticated enough to be comfortable with that, and their overall, they're sort of calculating their risk across their overall asset base, and that's fine for some people. For a first-time investor, that's probably not what you want to do, but it's just good to know what options are there as well.
And I have a background working as a financial controller in the property development space, and I've seen people take on 15, 20% interest rates, but it's usually about how they're the complexity of those deals are much larger. For mum and dad investors looking to build out a smaller portfolio or just grow that property portfolio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million, working with a broker that can help you through that journey, not just year one, but all the way through the next decade, is very important.
And we're one piece of the puzzle. It's what I always tell people. We're one component of the solution. There's the house itself, which are obviously a buyer's agent, helps with finding a suitable property. I'm not your man there. And then there's the tax considerations, accountant, that they can be involved. So there's all the other pieces of the puzzle which will often prompt people to get advice in those areas as well. 'Cause it's a combination of all those that sort of allow people to make educated decisions around what they want to do, what property they may or may not want to buy.
Yeah, really building that property team. So if you are looking for help to buy a house here in Southeast Queensland, head over to purposeproperty.com.au. You can book in a free chat with myself. And if you are looking for mortgage broking services anywhere across Australia, again, you can book in by clicking mortgage broker on the website there too. So really great chatting with you today, mate. I know everyone loves having a broker on the podcast or on the YouTube channel to discuss the market. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Thanks, guys.